Alright, so it's that time of the month again, and new PlayStation Plus games, and honestly, like a lot of you, I was hoping for something a little bit more hype in January to kick off the year. Now, personally, that said, I don't think it's a bad month, but I can see why opinions might be mixed. In fact, let me know your rating out of 10 in the comments below. I'm curious where everyone stands on this one because, well, it's definitely a strange lineup. We've got a racer that's going to hit the mark for genre fans, a puzzle adventure game that I think is a masterpiece, honestly, but it won't be for everyone, and a AAA title that basically flopped hard, but seems to be making one final push for relevance, I guess. So yeah, it's interesting to say the least. Alright, so look, hit subscribe, stick around for all of your PlayStation content, deals, reviews, PS Plus news, you name it, you'll find it here. And yeah, let's dive into the 3 new additions to the PS Plus library for January 2025. So first, let's talk about what makes Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered such a blast. First off, it's just all about high-speed chaos, adrenaline-filled chases. You're either an outlaw trying to outrun the cops or the law hunting them down, and both sides, they have their own full career modes. Now, as a racer, it's all about dodging roadblocks, outmaneuvering spike strips, and using turbo boost to basically escape. Meanwhile, playing as a cop, that's where you get to unleash tools like EMPs and roadblocks to shut racers down. It's actually quite tactical at times, but also just pure fun. And the car roster in this game, it is stacked. You got Lamborghinis, Bugattis, and these ridiculous police interceptors. Now, let's be real here about this game. You're not here for heavy customization or tweaking every little car detail. This game is all about getting behind the wheel of fast cars and going all out. And trust me, the crashes here are brutal in the best way. Criterion's burnout roots, they are really showing here. Now, what I do love about the remaster as well is that it includes all of the DLC from the original, so right out of the gate, you've got extra cars, events, and challenges to dive into. Plus, the game looks and runs better than ever. Even in 2025, I think it holds up visually, and it all feels incredibly smooth. Multiplayer then is another big win here. It's cross-platform, so you can jump into races with your friends no matter whether they're playing on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, whatever it may be. And the auto-log feature is great too. It automatically compares your scores with your friends, so you've always got that kind of friendly, or I guess not so friendly, competition going as well. The map finally is another highlight, with everything from sunny coastal highways to icy mountain roads. It's technically open world, but they kept it simple. You can fast travel to a fence instead of wasting time driving halfway across the map, and that's a huge win for me personally because it keeps things moving, and I like that in a racer. So yeah, this game doesn't try to be something it's not basically. It's not about realism or in-depth tuning, it's about speed, action, and just having a great time. So whether you're on the run or playing as the cops, it's a total adrenaline rush. If you love fast cars, big crashes, and kind of a classic arcade racing feel, Hot Pursuit Remastered still delivers the goods, and it is well worth taking a look. Okay, now the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, and I'll say this isn't going to be for everyone, but for me it is a masterpiece. The sheer creativity here is absolutely incredible, and the way it delivers its story is, in my opinion, some of the best, and definitely some of the strangest you'll ever experience in gaming. So at its core, it's a first-person exploration game, but it's not about combat or puzzles. Instead, you're playing as Stanley, an office worker whose mundane life takes a surreal turn when his co-workers mysteriously vanish. From there, the game is all about choice, or at least the illusion of choice. You'll follow or ignore the narrator's instructions, and the way the story shifts based on your decisions is nothing short of honestly just brilliant. What sets this one apart, however, is how it constantly plays with your expectations. Every choice leads to wildly different outcomes, and it loves to mess with your head. One moment you're exploring an office building, the next you're in a completely bizarre scenario that feels ripped out of a fever dream. And let's not forget the narrator as well. He is the star of the show here, delivering a performance that is funny, sarcastic, and actually surprisingly emotional at times. The Ultra Deluxe version then takes everything from the original game, adds a ton of new content. There are entirely new endings, fresh twists on old paths, and more surprises that you can probably count. Even if you played the original, this version feels like a whole new game in a lot of ways. It's also worth mentioning that the visuals have been updated to look better on modern systems, but the minimalist art style is still very much intact, and you're not coming to the Stanley Parable for flashy graphics or fast-paced gameplay. This is a game about thinking, laughing, and sometimes kind of just scratching your head in confusion. It's weird, it's clever, it's one of those experiences that sticks with you long after you've put the controller down. So basically, yeah, not for everyone, but if you're into games that push boundaries, challenge conventions, and don't take themselves too seriously, Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, absolutely worth checking out. So this last one's going to be controversial, no doubt about it. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. It flopped hard when it launched, and I think understandably so from the reviews I read, it didn't exactly live up to the hype. But here's the thing, like a lot of people, I've never actually played it. So with it landing on PS Plus, I'm planning to check it out for myself. And the timing is, well, interesting. The January update ends Season 4. That's going to be the game's last major update. It's essentially the end of the line for Suicide Squad. Now that said, to my knowledge, the servers will stay online for now, but how long that'll last is anyone's guess. One positive thing they've done though recently is add offline single player support, so we do have that. And I think that's a welcome move. We've seen too many live service games just vanish, leaving players with nothing. So this feels like a last ditch effort to spike player numbers and maybe squeeze out a bit of extra cash, but at least it means the game won't completely disappear when the servers do eventually go down. And I think that is, at least in itself, kind of a good thing. As for the game itself, it's an action-adventure shooter set in an open-world metropolis. You play as Harley Quinn, Deadshot, King Shark, and Captain Boomerang, each with their own unique abilities and weapons. The story has you facing off against corrupted versions of iconic DC heroes, including Superman, Flash, and Wonder Woman. They are all under the control of Brainiac. The combat is promising to be fast-paced with an emphasis on third-person shooting, and of course over-the-top action. There is also a big focus on co-op play, though you can play the solo mode with AI teammates. Now visually, I will say I think it looks impressive, with Metropolis looking really kind of full of detail. The gameplay, however, is, from what I understand at least, where things kind of get mixed. Many felt it leaned too heavily into live service mechanics like battle passes and grinding for gear, which is probably why it struggled to find an audience, let's face it. But if you can look past that, there's still fun to be had here, especially if you're a fan of the Arkham series, since this is technically, a follow-up to those games. It's the same studio. So yeah, it's clearly a flawed game, but now that it's on PS Plus, it's going to be worth checking out. If only to see what all of the fuss was about. Who knows, you might find yourself actually enjoying it more than you expected, especially with the offline mode, ensuring it doesn't, disappear completely. But yeah, that's your lineup of new games for January. What do you all think? Like I said, I don't think it's awful by any means. I'm into racers, I absolutely love the Stanley Parable, and I'm willing to give Suicide Squad a shot. But I get it, if none of these click for you, this month probably feels like a total miss, and that is always a letdown. Here's hoping February brings something big, because I think personally we're overdue now for a true heavy hitter. It feels like it's been a while, if you ask me. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit subscribe, stick around for all of the PlayStation content you need, deals, reviews, PS Plus news, and more. And yeah, catch you all on the next one. Cheers all.